Hey everyone, so I made a last video, but I forgot to look at all the neutral cards, so I'm going to go over the neutral cards now. So, the first one's the Runic Egg, which is a 0/2/1 mana, which lets you draw a card. And it's like any other egg, it works better with buff classes like Paladin, or any trigger minion like Abusive Sergeant or Shattered Sun. And like the other, this is worse than Nerubian Egg because it draws a card instead of giving you a 4/4. So this is a very uninspiring minion, which I gave a tier score. It might be, I wrote 40, but I think I gave it a lower score than 40. Arcane Anomaly is a 1 mana 2/1, which means it passes the vanilla distribution for a 1-drop. And whenever you cast a spell, you gain a health. This isn't too exciting overall because it doesn't gain attack. If you cast 2 spells, it's going to be a better zombie chow, but it's probably dead by then, and once again, you're relying on spells in the arena. So this isn't, this is at least a 50, I'd say. It's an average card, but it's not going to be more than a 50, I'd say. Pompous Thespian. This is an interesting card. It's basically a power creep on Bloodfen Raptor. You're getting a 3/2 with taunt, but what we have to consider is that there's additional beast synergy going on in the arena now. So you have to think about whether this taunt is worth drafting over Bloodfen Raptor. This is really interesting because Bloodfen Raptors and River Crocs were always the baseline vanilla minion, but now that they're beasts, it puts a whole spin on what you're drafting and what cards you have. So it's really interesting. This is a taunt at 3/2, which a 2/3 taunt is better than a 3/2 just because it could survive more attacks. This will trade with anything you play. And you have to wonder if this taunt is worth, if it's going to mean anything. Certainly in the late game when you have a taunt and you're going face, it's very valuable. But I don't think it's too much better than a Bloodfen Raptor, and in some cases your Bloodfen Raptor will be better. So I'd say this card's like a 60. It's a little above average, but not. It's very average card. And then there's Spite Historian. If you discover a dragon, if you're holding a dragon, discover a dragon. Like I said, dragons are about 5% of minions, so you can't really rely on this effect. So, but when you do discover it, you're getting a really good card. Yeah, otherwise the 2 mana 1/3 is not particularly good. So I'd say this card is in the 40s in its rating. Pantry Spider. You're getting a Battle Cry, and you're getting 2/6, which is 8 mana worth of stats, which is really good for 3. But the problem lies within its stat distribution. You're getting 2 1/3s, in which a 3-drop can trade with both of them and still be living. So that's what's bad about this card. Obviously, there's synergy with Houndmaster and other beast effects. This is going to be markedly better with Druid and Hunter, but with every other class, this is a well below average card. I'd say it's in the mid 40s, maybe. I don't know. Just beast synergy. This is going to be one of the best cards, I think, for the neutral set for the weapon classes. The Violet Illusionist, it passes the vanilla distribution, and it allows your hero to become immune during your turn. So that's when you're attacking. So this is good for Rogue, Paladin, Warrior, Shaman, rarely Hunter, but I think this is a very good card because you're attacking things and you're basically protecting this minion at the same time. It's like free healing too, so I mean, when you have so much upside, it's hard to be a bad card. Obviously, this is a little worse. This is like an Injured Blade Master for every other class, but for the weapon classes, this is like a 70 rank card. Pretty good value. The Zubat is it's 1 mana, it's 1 point off tempo, but you're getting a random Beast, Dragon, or Murloc +1/+1. And I looked at the numbers. 16% of minions are one of those. Most of them are beasts. but you have a 1 in 6 chance of getting one of those, and this gives you a buff. So it's like Shattered Sun. It's worse than Shattered Sun in that you're relying on a 1 in 6 chance of getting a minion, and you can't target the battle cry. It's better than Shattered Sun just because it has 1 more health. So it's overall it's worse just because it's situational, but I don't think it's a horrible card. I think it's in the 50s, maybe high 50s, low 60s. Could work. So Arcano Smith. I don't know how evident this is, but I think this is the worst card in the set for the arena. I don't know about constructed, but you're getting a 3/2 and a shield bearer with 1 more health. I don't know if this even gets you to 4. I don't know if it costs 4. It's just it's one of those cards you don't want to draft. I mean, if you're getting offered a Murloc Tiny Fin or a Wisp or Amgam Rager, this is probably better. I don't know how much better it is though. It's one of those cards you don't want to pick, but you're gonna see it a lot, just by virtue of the arena. Menagerie Magician. This is a lot like Zubat. You're relying on the 16% chance of a minion being a Beast, Dragon, or Murloc. Most likely they're a Beast. And that makes it better in Druids and Hunters. This and Zubat are better in Druids and Hunters. I think this card's a little better than Zubat just because the +2/+2 and also it's a turn 5 play, which means you have a bigger chance of getting one of those beasts. A card that's going to jump, I think, is Stranglehorn Tiger. This will make Stranglehorn Tiger a 7/7, and you're getting a 4/4 body, which I mean, there's other 5 mana 4/4s which are bad, like Anubis Saf Sentinel, but let's say you drop this on the Tiger, you get 7/7 and a 4/4. That's pretty good. I mean, it's situational again, but just because you're waiting a little longer and you're getting a +2/+2, I think this is just a little better than Zubat, but they're both on the average, above average cusp. I don't think it's horrible though. So now we're going to the rares with Avian Watcher. You control Secret, gain +1/+1 and Taunt. So this only works with secret classes, first of all, so if you're not a secret class, you don't want this card at all. When you're taunting 4 mana 7/7, that's worse than a Dark Arakoa. And further, it's a turn 5, so you're going to have to rely on your secret not triggering, and all the secrets are cost 1, 2, or 3, so I don't think this is a very good card at all. I think I rated it in the 40s. Just too situational on both sides, having a secret and being a secret class. Bookworm, it's a purely constructed card. Very good effect though. It's better than a Kodo. 3/6 is bad though for 6 mana. You're anti-tempoing 4 points. Yeah, 4 points. It's big, but it's not the biggest, I guess. But again, you're relying on holding a dragon, which is 5% of minions. So you have to consider how good this card is. It's just it's more of a constructed card than an arena card. Okay, I'm gonna skip him. Arcane Giant. This is, so to get value out of this, you want to pay 7 or 8. 8 is kind of break even, but 7 is very good value. So you need to cast 5 spells. It's going to depend on how many spells you draft. For some classes, it's going to work pretty easy. Some drafts, I mean. So I think I rated it as a 60, but it's better than Molten Giant and Mountain Giant, but not better than Sea Giant, because Sea Giant you could trigger quite a bit. So this is the most interesting card in the arena in Hearthstone. I think it's definitely the most interesting card of the set. So Battle Cry, you destroy a minion. You're not really silencing it, you're destroying it like an assassinate. And Death Rattle, you're resummoning it. So you could use this either on your own minions or your opponent's minions. And how people are going to rate this card is really interesting because there's so many variables to consider. When I rated it, I just considered it as a kidnapper. It's a lot like a kidnapper. You're sending something back, and then it's going to come back. It's got less attack than the kidnapper, but for all intents and purposes, I consider it as a kidnapper. When you're using it on your own minions, you want to use them on Death Rattles most likely. You're not going to have a Sylvanas in the arena. That's the easiest combo of this card, but you could use it on Twilight Summoner, Wobbling Runts, Savannah Highmane, Shredders of any variety. So this has value in triggering Death Rattles, but I think in the arena you value the hard removal. It's another source of hard removal, and hopefully you'll kill your opponent before this guy dies. Very hard card to evaluate. I think I gave it a 65. Just comparing it to a kidnapper. That's the easiest way to look at it in my opinion. But this card has so much potential. It could be anything. And I'm gonna go through the legendaries real fast. Morose. I hate this card in the constructed, but in the arena it's a little better because it's harder to kill. It provides some late game value, but they're just 1/1, so I don't think it's too good. It's below average. Barnes, you're getting 4 or 5 worth of minions, so you're getting the right cost. And if it's a Death Rattle minion or a continuous effect minion, you're getting something pretty solid. So I'd say this is above average. Malchezaar. So Malchezaar is the best legendary in this set. And you're getting 5 legendary minions, which is... It's not that good in constructed because you don't really want the minions, but in arena, any legendary minion would help. The only bad thing about this card is when you're drafting it, if this is your pick 1 legendary, you definitely pick it. But if it's your last pick legendary, or like pick 20, you wouldn't want it because it would wreck your mana curve. The average legendary costs 6, so think about it. You're getting your 5, 6 drops, shifting your mana curve to the right. Could completely destroy your mana curve. So this is an interesting card in that its score depends when you pick it, I think, in the draft. The Curator, you're probably gonna draw a Beast and that's it, maybe a Murloc. Again, this is the 16% chance of what minion could be. The taunt and the value is just not worth it otherwise. This card's below average in my opinion, but it could be average if you draft the right cards. Finally, Medivh. The staff summons minions when you cast a spell. It's situational because spells are kind of scarce in the arena. More of a constructed card, but it's not bad. It's above average. Yeah, I think it's above average. So, yeah, that's my review of the neutral cards. Hopefully these cards are pretty cool. You'll see these cards quite a bit. This is the card I'm really excited about. I don't know what I'm going to do with that. This card too. This card's pretty cool. Overall, kind of a boring lot of minions, but there is an interesting synergy with... This is a whole new dimension to drafting, because your Bloodfen Raptor could be better than your Pompous Thespian now, just because these zoo cards exist. So that's pretty interesting. Yeah, so that's all I have for now. Thank you for watching again.